things off, a little modern action. Black-red hollow one against humans. That's Gregory Stiver against the very well-dressed Todd Stevens, who I think even just got a haircut recently.
Yeah, I just want to say normally Todd Stevens embarrasses me on the dressing nice front.
Yeah.
But I'm looking.
Are you winning
I'm
today?
looking fly AF.
Okay. Well, Todd Stevens down to 19 off Horizon Canopy into an Ether Vial.
Yeah, Ether Vial, one of the better starts for humans. If you don't have a draw featuring one of your early drops, your one drops, the deck doesn't function all that well. Noble Hierarch alongside Ether Vial also not great. You don't want two of those types of things, but it looks like he does have a Champion of Perish, so hopefully he'll get the party started as early as next turn.
And Arid Mace is going to find a Blood Crypt, and now we're going to cycle a Street Wraith, so Gregory Stiver is going to fall down to 15 to get this game started.
Feels like a Death Shadow strategy.
And now we're going to see a Faithless Looting. So 2 cards coming. 2 cards will go into the graveyard here for Gregory in just a moment. And then we'll be heading back over to Todd Stevens. Perhaps there could be a hollow one involved, and I actually do see one at the top left-hand corner of Gregory's hand.
Yeah, I see that. He already cycled the Street Wraith as well as the Faithless Looting, so that hollow one costs him 0 mana. A pretty big deal on turn 1 here for Stiver.
For Stevens, he'll put a counter on this Vial. He'll draw a card. Does he have a second land? He does not, so he is dependent on the Vial to get the job done in this particular game. A slow start here for Stevens as we head back over to Gregory Stiver.
Yeah, but Ether Vial, even though you don't have a second land, it can bail you out. It's going to start generating 1 mana this turn. He's going to put in the Champion of the Parish. Next turn, if he draws a land, he'll likely be able to put two drops on the battlefield. And if one of them is a Thal's Lieutenant, he could get that Champion of the Parish all the way to a 4/4 and either start attacking or threaten to trade with a hollow one.
Stiver going to fall down to 14 as he sacrifices a Bloodstained Mire. We'll see if he wants to get a Blood Crypt yet again.
My guess says he's probably just going to get a basic. You don't want to take too much damage in this matchup, but it's all dependent on his hand.
See Aaron Barich chiming in here a little bit, helping his teammate. Aaron Barich, of course, our Season 1 Invitational Champion at SCGCon earlier this year with Mono Red in Standard and Infect in Modern, as there is another copy of Blood Crypt, so down to 12 goes Stiver. Certainly using his life total as a resource here. It might come back to hurt him, though. Humans doesn't take long to kill the opponent, as now here is. We'll see in just a moment. Oh, it is going to be Gurmag Angler. Okay, well. Turn 1, 4/4, turn 2, 5/5. Not bad, as there's a Champion of the Parish. Turn 2, 1/1 for Todd Stevens. But that card has the ability to grow, as Vial's going to tick up to 2.
Well, it looks like he drew another Champion of the Parish, and while it's probably not as good as a land, whoa. Maybe I'm wrong?
Yeah, if he drew a champion, I have to imagine he would have played it.
It might have been another Thal's Lieutenant. It was a cheap white card. I would love to know if it was a champion.
Well, here comes Hollow One, and here comes Gurmag Angler. Vial activation. It'll be a Phantasmal Image.
That's actually a really good card here to put into play off of the Ether Vial. If he copies Gurmag Angler, he can actually just eat up the Hollow One.
Yep.
And it looks like Gregory Stiver didn't have access to a Lightning Bolt, so that Phantasmal Image look like is going to trade with the Hollow One and stick around.
Yeah, it's going to copy the Gurmag Angler, take care of the Hollow One. Stevens will take 5. He's going to fall down to 10. And then we'll see what the follow-up is here in just a moment. This is a Collective Brutality, discarding 2 Blood Gas. So that's going to be escalated twice. 1 to give the old Phantasmal Image -2/-2. Going to drain you. And it was a Champion of the Parish. I don't know why Todd didn't play that. Maybe he wanted to leave a card in his hand in case Burning Inquiry showed up. I'm not entirely sure what the thought process is.
No, that's a pretty good point. At this point, the champion, it could get pretty big, but he's playing like mono defense. And the champion getting big early on is not nearly as important when he's this far on the back foot. So it makes sense, but I don't know if it was the right play, because that champion that he has in play right now would be a 2/2, and every human he plays after that would get bigger and bigger.
Stevens trying to figure out if he wants to put the Vial up to 3 or not. 3, of course, turns on Reflector Mage, which is a great answer to this problem. Looks like he's drawn a second land in Cavernous Souls, which will be predictably naming human. And we'll see if Steven wants to go with Freebooter or Thalia's Lieutenant here.
Yeah, personally, I like Freebooter. If he has another Collective Brutality in hand, you want to strip that. The same with something like Faithless Looting. Those 2 Bloodghast in the yard could be detrimental, but you have that Reflector Mage that you're putting onto the battlefield to get that Angler off the table for multiple turns.
Well, here comes Reflector Mage. That's going to bounce the Angler right now, which means that Gregory Stiver won't be able to cast it for a turn, and now Steven's going to come across here for 3 points of damage.
Yeah, and notably, Gregory's already dealt himself a ton of damage, so that chunk in for 3 is a pretty big deal. This
will be a copy of Goblin Lore, so Gregory Stiver's going to draw 4 cards, discard 3 of them at random. Keep in mind, we know 2 of the cards in his hand. 1 is a Gurmag Angler, 2 is a Flameblade Adept, so 4 mystery cards coming. 3 will be discarded at random, and for Gregory Stiver, he's hoping to find a hollow one, or maybe even a land for the 2 Bloodghast that are in the graveyard, as they would have haste. 3 cards will go to the graveyard, among them Burning Inquiry. You'll also see a Street Wraith and a Flameblade Adept go to the bin.
Now, looks like Stiver did draw a land to get those Bloodghast back if he so chooses. And it's a fetch land too, so even if they die in combat, he can actually bring both of them back.
So in come the Bloodghast. Again, they do have haste because Stevens is at 10 or less life. Reflector Mage will block 1. The other one will come through. Stevens will fall down to 5. We're going to see Stiver sacrifice that Bloodstained Mire, fall down to 10. I imagine a basic Swamp is on the way. And then a Gurmag Angler may enter. Well, actually, will not enter the battlefield. You are right, Todd, because of Reflector Mage. So Stiver may be thinking he can play that, and he can't. And he's already reaching for the graveyard. He'll get back the Bloodghast. And he's going to... I hope it's a Tasigur. Otherwise, we're going to have to stop him. Yeah, it's a Tasigur.
All right, well, it's a Tasigur. I was like,
Tasigur will work. Gurmag Angler will have to come next turn if he's got enough cards to delve away. For now, Steven's going to leave that vial on 3.
Yeah, not any 4-drops in the main deck here, so.
That'll be a Seachrome Coast. It'll enter the battlefield untapped, but she's going to tap it immediately for mana to play a Champion of the Parish. And now, put a counter on that champion. A little help there from Jody Keith. He's going to take a point of damage, Will Stevens, to play Thalia's Lieutenant. Triggers aplenty. Champion will get 2 counters. Other champion will get 2 counters. The rest of the humans will get 1 counter. Thalia's Lieutenant doing a nice job of beefing up the army.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I think humans has a reasonably favorable Black-Red Hollow One matchup. If the game ever gets to this stage, your cards like Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant can get big enough to check the large monsters of Hollow One, Tasigur, and Gurmag Angler. And your creatures are big enough on defense to actually block Bloodghast and survive.
Well, for Todd Stevens now, he's considering, do I attack with my 6/6 Champion of the Parish or not? And for me, it is about trying to get this game over with. You've got an opponent that has Faithless Looting in the graveyard, and of course, copies of Lightning Bolt to draw to. Can't forget about Flamewake Phoenix either, though Flamewake Phoenix is currently being checked by a 2/3 Kitesail Freebooter. And Stevens is actually getting very aggressive here, attacking with the Freebooter as well. So 6/6 on the ground, 2/3 in the air, and we'll see if Gregory Stiver wants to do any blocking, as if he takes the 8 points of damage here, Todd, he'll be at 2 and be dying to a Kitesail Freebooter attack next turn.
Yeah, blocking with a Tasigur here is I think, a losing proposition. You have 3 attackers, your opponent's at 4. They have 3 blockers. If you draw exactly Collective Brutality, you get to nug the Thalia's Lieutenant and drain for 2 and attack for lethal. So I think taking it down to 2 is definitely the right play.
Burning Inquiry here. Both players will draw 3 cards and discard 3 cards at random. Again, we know one of the cards in Gregory Stiver's hand, the only one, when he came into the turn, was that Gurmag Angler he couldn't cast because of Reflector Mage. For Todd Stevens, we didn't know any of the cards in his hand, though if he is able to maybe draw into a 3-mana spell, that'd be pretty sweet, as he discards 3 cards here. One of them is a Horizon Canopy. Looks like a Meddling Mage going to the graveyard. Gurmag Angler went to the bin there for Gregory Stiver. So did a Flamewake Phoenix, so that could come back from the graveyard here.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be enough. If he had hit like Bloodghast plus Flamewake Phoenix, that would have given him 5 attackers versus 3 blockers, and that actually would have gotten the job done. But he doesn't have enough red mana here to cast Lightning Bolt if that's his last card.
Here come the Knuckleheads. Everybody's going to come in here. Todd Stevens says, I'm going to block your Bloodghast on bigger creatures. My Thalia's Lieutenant will jump in front of Tasigur. I'll take 2, fall down to 2. You can't cast Lightning Bolt, so I win the game. Todd Stevens with humans going to win game number 1 here over Gregory Stiver. Playing Black-Red Hollow One as we go to the sideboards here, and we will start with our Hollow One player who has 3 copies of Fatal Push 3 Leyline of the Void, 3 copies of Grim Lavamancer. Great card in this matchup, along 2 Engineered Explosives, 2 Ancient Grudge, and 2 copies of Thoughtseize. Todd, what do you want here?
So in this matchup, I think you become a little more interactive. You want to try to contain a lot of these smaller creatures that get very big from the human side. You're not too worried about the disruptive package. Things like Kitesail, Freebooter, and Meddling Mage aren't as backbreaking in this matchup because you don't have a ton of redundancy. Like if they name Faithless Looting, you still have Burning Inquiry. If they name Gurmag Angler, you still have Hollow One, etc. So I like bringing the removal package. There's 2 Engineer Explosives, which can clear out a lot of the 2s, or 1 just depending on the state of the battlefield. Grim Lavamancer is a great card against humans if they don't hit a Reflector Mage or something like that early on. The Grim Lavamancer can just threaten to kill every single creature they play. And then 3 copies of Fatal Push. Those 8 cards come in. I like cutting things like Bloodghast and Flamewake Phoenix. Those cards are very good against things like Jeskai and Jund, decks that have a bunch of spot removal, and where you need to play like a longer game and you need threat resiliency. But in this matchup, I think your big threats are just going to be good enough to win the game on their own, and especially so when combined with all this removal with Fatal Push, Lavamancer, and Explosives.
Let's talk about Todd Stevens and his 15 cards. 3 Sin Collector, 2 Izzet Staticaster, 2 Reclamation Sage, 2 Gaddock Teague, and he's got plenty of 1-ofs here in Damping Sphere, Direfleet Daredevil, Dismember Gutshot, Hostage Taker, and it pains me to say it, Reflector Mage.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been cutting a Reflector Mage from the main deck and moving it to the sideboard, and it's a fine card to have in the sideboard. It does a thing. It's one of the best cards in the deck for a reason. But if you're trying to fit in Militia Bugler, you have to make some concessions. I like bringing the Reflector Mage. It's one of the better cards in the Hollow One matchup. Hostage Taker does something very similar and is also pretty good. I don't think Gutshot is very good, even though it does kill Grim Lavamancer sideboard. I think it's just too narrow. The Dismember is great. It's 1 mana removal spell for any of the big threats out of the Black-Red Hollow One deck. Direfleet Daredevil is okay. Exiling something like their Faithless Looting from the graveyard while also getting to cast it yourself could give Mr. Stevens like a pretty big tempo advantage, as well as keeping Gregory off of a flashback Faithless Looting. Plus it can flashback one of his removal spells or something in some of the right spots. Gaddock Teague doesn't do anything. Reclamation Sage is okay because it can hit Hollow One for pretty cheap. But Izzet Staticaster doesn't really do a whole lot. There are some versions of Hollow One that play Lingering Souls, but Gregory's not, so I wouldn't bring that in. And Sin Collector's okay, but that's not really the battle you're trying to fight.
Very quickly, we're going to talk about the StarCityGames.com weekly sale. We're up to 20% off of English Foils is going to last a little bit longer here this week. So if you're looking to save on cards like Day of Judgment, Lotus Bloom, and Freylease from the Commander products, a wonderful Planeswalker, especially in Cube, go.starcitygames.com/weekly sales, the place to go. It's going to end Monday morning, 10:59 a.m. East Coast time, but we'll have a new sale up for you at 11 a.m. I implore you to bookmark go.starcitygames.com/weekly sale and check it out every single Monday, as these players are going to take a look at their opening hands. Todd Stevens may be a little tired this morning. Yawning is the former SCG Tour Player of the Year. Looks like Stiver is going to keep his opening hand, and we see a Bloodstained Mire to start. Down to 19, maybe 17 again. We saw him search for Blood Crypts pretty aggressively in the last game. He'll search for a Blood Crypt again here. Down to 17, and we'll see, and maybe we'll have a Burning Inquiry start this time.
Yeah, Burning Inquiry, one of the better turn 1 plays on the play. It puts your opponent in this weird spot where they're not sure if their hand is going to be playable anymore after the Burning Inquiry resolves. If they only have like 1 or 2 lands in their opener and they randomly discard those lands, the game just ends on the spot.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of cards in Modern where a 1-mana spell just ends the game right then.
But it's random.
It is random.
They say. Sometimes it doesn't feel so random.
Yeah.
Here is Burning Inquiry. Both players draw 3 cards. You saw Steven start off with a either Vial via Cavernous Souls naming Human. Flameblade Adept is going to be attacking for at least 4 points of damage this turn, but maybe more than that if there'll be 3 discard triggers here from the Burning Inquiry.
Yeah, Flameblade Adept is one of the standouts to me in this archetype, simply because it gives you a reason to discard cards, a reason to play these spells. Aside from filling up your graveyard or playing Hollow One, it's just a great 1-drop spell that rewards you for spinning your wheels.
In for 6 comes Gregory Stiver. You can see Stiver saying he's got multiple copies of Flamewake Phoenix in hand, another copy of Burning Inquiry as well. So if things break right for him, he'll be able to put more of those Phoenixes into the graveyard. But for now, we head back to Stevens, who will put a counter on his Ether Vial. That's up to 1. Looks like he has land number 2 in his hand in Seachrome Coast. And we'll see how Todd Stevens wants to move forward. Again, humans in this matchup generally the defensive deck, looking to stabilize and turn the corner very quickly. That's exactly what happened in game number 1. It was a turn 1 4-4 into a turn 2 5-5 for Gregory Stiver. A start that humans can't really match, but Stevens was able to defend, Reflector Mage, turn the corner, win the game.
Yeah, especially Phantasmal Image copying that Gurmag Angler. It's a 5-5, and Hollow One's a 4-4. And even though he dealt a large chunk of damage before that happened, and Gregory was able to clear it with a Collective Brutality, it wasn't quite enough.
That Meddling Mage is going to be naming Lightning Bolt, one, of course, in the graveyard already for Gregory Stiver, but that's one of the few removal spells that this deck does play. They do sideboard, does Hollow One into Fatal Push on occasion, and, of course, they do have some number of Collective Brutalities in their main deck, but Lightning Bolt's generally their go-to for removal spells. We're going to see another Burning Inquiry here from Gregory Stiver. Both players are going to discard 3 cards once again. So, an Angler, a Lavamancer, and a Bolt going to go to the graveyard. It's actually a good discard there for Stiver, one may argue. However, the Flamewake Phoenix did not go to the graveyard there. For Todd Stevens, he lost 2 1-drops in Champion the Parish and Noble Hierarch, so can't vial those in, and then an Ancient Ziggurat, so maybe he needed that land. We'll see once we get back to his turn. For now, we could see another attack here for 6, and we're going to.
Yeah, I don't hate a double block on the Flameblade Adept. Even though you're going to lose both your creatures, that 1-drop creature is dealing you a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's good to stop that if you can. Stevens able to. Now he's going to bring that vial up to 2. Just a Flamewake Phoenix on the battlefield here for Gregory Stiver. Stevens will now play a Horizon Canopy. Looks like he does have a 3-mana spell to play in his hand in Mantis Rider. And it also looks like he has a Thalia's Lieutenant in hand. So he can get in the air now if he'd like to. Again, not terribly concerned with Lightning Bolt. 2 of them in the graveyard right now. As there is the Mantis Rider. Stevens had to pay a life to cast it. And now he's going to attack here for 3. Will he take the opportunity to vial in this Thalia's Lieutenant? He will. Yeah,
he was trying to bait a Lightning Bolt from Gregory there, but once he realizes that, like, you see Greg, he's just like, okay, I'll take it, and he goes to, like, write down the life total change. That's usually a notification that your vial on 2 can put in the Thalia's Lieutenant and deal an extra point of damage for free.
We get a Street Wraith cycle, and now we're going to see a Faithless Looting, so 2 cards coming here for Gregory Stiver, and then 2 cards will be going to the graveyard. Perhaps this will allow him to play a big Dredge spell or Hollow One. As Stevens right now sitting in the driver's seat, he's done a nice job of taking care of the lone threat that Stiver really had that was problematic in Flameblade Adept.
Yeah, unfortunately for Stiver, he actually discarded a Gurmag Angler on one of the Burning Inquiries and hasn't drawn a large creature since.
Hey, that's all part of playing Hollow One.
Yeah. While there is an element of randomness to the deck, it is surprisingly consistent.
Another Burning Inquiry, our 3rd one of the game. Both players are going to draw 3 cards and discard 3 cards at random. So we'll see what goes to the graveyard now for Stiver. It's a Bloodstained Mire, a Fatal Push, and a Flamewake Phoenix for Stevens, a Plains, a Vial, and a Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. We'll see what he's left over with in just a bit. Flamewake Phoenix has to attack. It says it right on the card.
Yeah.
Mantis Rider doesn't have to block, but it will.
It's the Ulamog Crusher of the Phoenixes.
Yes. Yes, it is. Ulamog's Crusher might be a little bit better right now, though, that's for sure.
It also costs 8.
Yeah, well. A Vial for 3. Looks like we might have a Militia Bugler here, folks.
Weird.
Bugler is going to take a look at the top 4 cards of the deck, among them a Reflector Mage, which means this game may be over now.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Stevens already has a Reflector Mage in hand, so this is basically all she wrote. At 11 life and no cards of consequence in Gregory's hand, he's going to need some insane peels, something like Faithless Looting into double Hollow One or something like that, and even then he might still lose to double Reflector Mage.
And that is going to do it. Todd Stevens is going to win this match over Gregory Stiver. Humans is going to clean up on Black-Red Hollow One. Generally a good matchup for Humans if Hollow One doesn't do anything too crazy, and that's exactly what happened. Congratulations to Todd Stevens. He wins game number 1 and game number 2, match 1 for Team BC Goon. We're going to move down to Standard.
Really?
Yeah, let's get our eyes on some standard.
That's what you want to watch?
I do. I want to watch Jim Davis do his thing right now. You see Aaron Barich already up a game over his pal Jody Keefe. So we're going to watch Nathan Fountain against Jim Davis. It's Esper Control against Blue-White Control. Got to give Standard a little bit of love here, folks.
You know they're in game 1, right?
I sure do, which means we're going to stick and stay for a little while. That's what's going to happen. Now look at this. Look at this. Now this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fairies. We got a game of 22-16. I suppose the life totals are in favor of Nathan Fountain right now, but that's not what these control matchups are really about.
Yeah, one player has Teferi, the other one has Search for Ascanta. But looks like Jim has access to at least one Field of Ruin on the battlefield, so that Search for Ascanta is not that big of a deal.
We do apologize for the technical difficulties, working on getting these fixed as best we can. If we can't, we will jump over to that Legacy match, just so that you guys are aware at home, as it looks like a Vraska's Contempt is being cast right now on this Teferi. These players deep in the heart of game number 1. This matchup can take a little while sometimes, but of course things do speed up after sideboard. You can see that Jim has a lot of cards in hand. Looks like Nathan Fountain doesn't have as many, but both these players have gone through a lot of permanents too. It's kind of interesting to watch how this one plays out. Obviously, Esper Control, a dominant weekend last weekend on the Grand Prix circuit. Blue-White Control, still a good choice. And we're going to head back over to Nathan Fountain. And as we work on the technical difficulties of this particular matchup, we are actually going to jump over to our Legacy matchup, because we want to work on getting that camera fixed for you viewers at home as best we can, provide the best viewing experience. So for now, we'll turn our attention to the Goon Squad against your current Invitational champion in Aaron Barich, who, again, without his hat. You think someone stole it?
No, I actually talked to him yesterday.
Oh, I want an answer.
He said that when he got home from the Invitational, he just put it down at his apartment. And the next time he went to a tournament, he looked for it and couldn't find it.
What?
And I asked him a question. I'm like, well, do you think a raving lunatic fan broke into your house and stole your hat? And he's like, no. I think I just misplaced it.
But
it's your lucky hat.
But it's at his house. It's got to be. I don't understand.
I mean, have you never lost your keys before?
But keys are smaller than a hat.
I mean, not my keychain. My keychain is gigantic. I got like a bike lock on it. I ain't losing my keys again.
Okay.
One time my keys were in the freezer.
That I don't even know what to say to that. Why?
I wanted to go to like Arby's or something, and my wife took my keys and threw them in the freezer.
Oh, well, that's just good play by Callie.
No, it was great.
That's all.
Super smart.
That's very smart.
Yeah.
Because no one should eat at Arby's.
Yeah.
What do you even order there?
Turkey bacon ranch sandwich.
The old TBR?
Yeah.
Curly?
Yeah.
You strike me as a curly fry.
No, I don't really like curly fries. I got sick of curly fries when I was in high school.
Arby's sauce?
Arby's sauce is okay.
Horsey sauce.
But when I'm doing the turkey bacon ranch, I just do the ranch.
All right.
Yeah.
Jamocha shake?
Yes.
That's the only good thing on the menu, by the way.
I once left a Jamocha shake in that same freezer for like 2 years. I just forgot about it. Well, like I got one, and then I was just like full from my food, and I didn't want it. And I was like, I'll just eat it, drink it later or whatever.
Okay.
And then when we moved to Roanoke, like 2 years later, we had to clean out our fridge. And I was just like, oh, there's that Jamocha shake.
Tell me you threw it away.
No, I ate it.
Oh, no.
No, of course I threw it away. I'm not a monster.
All right. We have no empirical evidence of that. Jody Keefe has a Glacial Chasm. He's got a Dark Depths. He's got a Mana Bond. A couple copies of Grove of the Burn Willows, Mox Diamond, Taiga Forest, Rashad and Port, and a couple of cards in hand. For Aaron Barich, I see 2 Noble Hierarchs, a Relic of Progenitus, and just a couple of lands here.
So we have the Glacial Chasm from Jody Keith, which is actually just locking out Aaron from doing any real damage or infect damage to Jody. But it looks like Jody is comfortable letting it die here. Either he has Life from the Loam, or he thinks he's going to be able to clear off these Noble Hierarchs with Punching Fire this turn.
Well, let's see what Jody Keith's got. He's going to play Life from the Loam right now on his graveyard, right into a Relic of Progenitus. He ain't scared.
Why would you be scared?
He says, you want to take my graveyard away from me? Go ahead.
You got to get rid of that Relic of Progenitus one way or another.
see Barich's hand. He does have a copy of Force of Will, among other options there.
I'm not positive that he actually has another blue card, though. The trick here is that Life from the Loam's on the stack, so if you do pop the Relic of Progenitus, that means that the Life from the Loam still goes to the graveyard, but that means Aaron doesn't have to worry about Glacial Chasm over the next few turns. The problem here is that all of his Infect threats are dead, and he's going to have to try to do natural 20s, or I guess 14 damage here, with Noble Hierarchs.
At least as things currently stand, that'll have to be his plan. Barich not sure if he wants to pop this Relic or not. Jody Keith offering it up, saying, go ahead, take my Glacial Chasm forever. The reality is I'm not sure Jody Keith actually needs that Glacial Chasm to win this game. Looks like he's doing just fine at the moment. But I can tell you, I can't imagine Barich ever being able to grab a Punishing Fire with the Relic if Jody plays his cards right.
Yeah, I mean, he has 2 Grove of the Burn Willows active, so that seems like an impossibility. So the problem also here is that if he doesn't pop Relic now, Jody gets to cycle the Shelter Thicket in response to the Relic activation, which will let him dredge at instant speed.
Ooh, Surgical Extraction to draw. Well,
that's a good one.
That's actually not bad. He got the Graveyard, and now he gets to get the loan with the Surgical.
Yeah, he can take the loan with the Surgical. It might be better for him to actually take the Punishing Fire, though, if he can get to a spot where Jody gets a little greedy, maybe taps out for it.
All right, well, it looks like we're headed back Aaron Barich's way. Jody Keith with a Dark Depths and I believe a Punishing Fire in hand. And we're going to let Aaron draw a card. He'll pick up a copy of Brainstorm. Member of 504 Magic, your Season 1 Invitational Champion. Going to play a Brainstorm. Multiple-time Open Champion here, too. Dallas has kind of been his stomping ground. That's where we first learned about Aaron Barich a handful of years ago. He's got an open win here in the Fort Worth Convention Center. Different room, but his results here are very, very good. And he continues to build a very nice Magic resume.
So even though he doesn't have an Infector here, thanks to the card Berserk in Legacy, the Infect deck can actually deal a sizable chunk of natural damage in this matchup. I've seen Tom Ross kill people from like 27 before through an Emrakul once. I guess, you know, you can do a lot of damage.
Tom Ross's Infect stories are that of legend.
Yeah, there was one, the Open that I won in Modern with Infect. Tom asked me at one point in day 2, he's like, how many times have you killed people with natural damage? I said, 0. And he goes, I've done it like 6 times.
Yeah. It just makes it look easy.
Okay.
I also loved that Tom just knew when to pivot to regular damage, too. Oh, what? Oh, hello. Oh, it's about this now.
If he has another pump spell, I know he has access to Berserk. Looks like he has Becomement, so this is going to be a lethal attack. And Jody's only real form of defense here is Punching Fire, but now it's out of range.
Interesting.
So he's main phasing the Surgical Extraction to make his Becomements cheaper. And also to make sure the coast is clear from Jody Keith's side. Looks like he has Force plus Brainstorm to stop something like Crop Rotation as well. So I think Aaron actually has this one wrapped up.
So let's see. Invigorate resolves. Jody's at 17.
Yep. But it's already +2 from the Exalted triggers as well, so that's already 6. Becomements is 12, and then Berserk's 24. And with the fetch land, he has enough to pay 2 for the Becomements and then 1 for the Berserk.
This deck is funky. Yeah, I'll show you Becomements and Berserk. Sack this, play these, do this. Jody Keith's hand is a Punishing Fire in the Dark Depths. Aaron's going to explain exactly how this is going to work. And this is free-ish. This is free-ish.
Just do it. Go get your land.
I would search for a land. That's what I would search for a land. Personally.
Maybe he doesn't have any more lands because Jody wastelanded them all, and then Relic took them all.
He's shortcutting a little bit.
Well, no, he's not, because he Berserks first, and it's still enough.
Oh, sure.
Because, yeah, I think he actually just didn't have another land to fetch, and that's why he was like, okay, I fetch, I Berserk first, it goes to 12, and then the Becomements is 18.
Got it.
So it's still enough, and he had just enough mana even without a fetch.
Well, Aaron Barich is going to win his match over Jody Keith. And now we're all tied up here between Team BC Goon and Team, what do we want to call Barich's? Invitational Squad?
The Invitational Squad?
Invi Squad, since he's the Invitational champ?
I mean, We can call them the Champions Club.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Champions Club. All right, well. Ooh, it looks like Standard's in a judge call right now. So that's why you see kind of a standoff here. And they're still in game number 1. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to come back to the booth. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring it back over here to our shiny faces. Hello, everyone.
Shiny. Someone hit me with that makeup bag.
Boom. Boom.
Bozo the Clown style. Just boom.
I hope that never happens.
I hope it does. That would be tight.
Though, actually, I do want to be able to one day when we take a break go, makeup!
You know, I've never put on makeup before.
Me either.
And I feel like if I'm going to be on TV every couple of weeks, you know, maybe Twitch.tv, it's in the name.
Right. Okay, sorry, continue.
You know, put a makeup person on.
I've always
on payroll.
I need a little blush. I don't know.
I don't ever need blush. My face is red as heck.
I don't know what blush is, actually, or any makeup, honestly. I don't know any of it.
Blush is the red stuff that goes on your cheeks.
Okay.
There's, like, eyeliner that goes on your eyeline.
Do you know what mascara is?
Yeah, it's on the eyelashes.
How do you know this?
Because I'm married.
Right. Right. It's a good answer. And I am not. I am not. We are going to be working on our camera issues, but they're also in a judge call. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a short break. That's going to be our plan. We want to make sure we have everything sorted out here. So we're going to run a couple ads and commercials because we know you love them so much at home. Then we're going to come back, and either two things are going to happen. One, our camera issues are going to be fixed where we're currently at, and that judge call will be resolved, so on and so forth. Or they're going to finish their first game. Then we're going to move them over underneath one of our cameras that provides a better view. Either way, we're going to take just a short break. We're going to come back. We want to watch the conclusion of this match, get date number 2 started. So we'll see you back here for all of